Okay, today we're gonna prepare brioche bread. So for this recipe we will need 3 eggs, 4 grams or 1 teaspoon of dry yeast, a quarter of a cup of milk, 1 stick of butter or something like 110 grams of butter, flour, 500 something, no, less. We need 250 of flour. And in terms of accessory, we will need our KitchenAid bowl plus the hook. Okay, so first step, we're gonna add in the bowl the milk that is warm enough so that it's like bath temperature. So just add the milk, then half a cup of flour, which is something like 60 grams. Okay, and 4 grams of dry yeast for bread. And then we're gonna give it a stir. So see, once you give it a stir, it's a bit sticky like this. If it's not sticky enough, you can add a bit of warm milk. If it's too sticky, add a little bit of flour. But you see that the consistency that we need to get. And then we're gonna cover it and let it rest and double in volume for about 1 hour. Ideally next to the heater or in a place where it's more like 25 degrees Celsius versus like too cold, so that it's gonna accelerate the movement. Okay, so now our first dough has doubled in size, and as you can see it has really nice bubbles indicating that the gluten is starting to work. Then we're gonna add 3 eggs at room temperature. So if you forgot to put the eggs at room temperature, you can take the eggs and put them under hot water, and that will move them down up to room temperature very quickly. Then I'm gonna add a quarter of a cup of sugar or 60 grams of sugar plus 1 teaspoon of kosher salt. And then I'm gonna add 190 grams of flour. Remember, we already used 60 grams and it's in total 250. So 190 grams of flour. Okay, so it's been about 15 minutes, and as you can see now, the dough is cohesive, sticks to the hook, which is a very good sign when you touch it. It's not too sticky. This is exactly what we need. And now we're gonna add the butter, 1 piece at a time, and then we're gonna stir for another 15 minutes. So add the melted butter 1 spoon at a time, and then so I just added a bit of butter and then stir to incorporate the butter. Once this piece of butter is incorporated, then I add the following spoon and so forth until everything is incorporated. And then I'm gonna let it stir for another 15 minutes so that really the dough becomes super cohesive with the butter. As you can see, I'm adding a wet towel below the KitchenAid because it's really shaky, and as I want it to work hard for 15 minutes, I don't want my KitchenAid to fall down. So in order to prevent it to move along the table, I'm just adding this. This is a very useful tip. And as you can see, all the butter is now incorporated, and we're gonna let it work for 15 minutes. Okay, so here's the noise. It's been 15 minutes. So now it's time to check whether it's good enough. So there is a way to check. So you unlock, you see this nice dough, and then you test whether you can do a window glass with it. So if it doesn't break and this transparency, this sounds really good. Like you can see the light through the dough, so that's a good sign. So we're gonna start there and transfer the dough in a glass bowl covered with butter. So I transfer the dough in a plastic bowl. The beauty of the plastic bowl is that it will help us to see the development of the gluten and the bubbles forming at the bottom of the bowl. And I cover it, and my tip is to light it on the oven while it's actually cooking for something. So the temperature goes up to about 25, 26, 28 degrees Celsius, which will help the yeast with the gluten to operate faster. So I'm gonna let it rest for something like an hour, but I'm gonna check after 45 minutes and see how it develops. Okay, it's been a little bit more than 1 hour and the dough has doubled in size, and as you can see it's nice and chewy. So we're gonna shape the brioche. So pour the dough on the table with a little bit of flour, like this, thank you. Divide the dough in 6 pieces, 6 parts. So take one of those 6 pieces, you shape it in the form of a little rectangle, then you put it 1, 2, and turn, and then roll it like a snail. And it's nice if you roll it quite tightly. Okay, that's one. Very nice. Place the larger one on the outside and the smaller one inside, because the larger one are gonna cook slowly, which is better for the external part of the mold. Very nice. Then we're gonna cover it and let it rest for an hour so that it can rise again. So we let the dough rise for 1 hour, and then we cook it for 35 minutes at temperature 375 Fahrenheit for 35 minutes. And a good tip to know whether it's really perfectly cooked is to check the inside temperature, and we should reach 200 Fahrenheit, which is 100 Celsius. And when the inside of the brioche reach the 100 Celsius or 200 Fahrenheit, that means that the brioche is ready. Look at this beauty. And before putting it in the oven, we put some egg white on the top of it, and that helps to have this very glossy, look at this very glossy and shiny results.